Hello and welcome to Warblog. Today I'm going to play Battle of Ap Bac. I might not play it all the way through, but essentially without the preamble and after a few modifications, essentially I have moved the line, extended the line a little further. It went this way before, right, it went all the way down here and then there. Because I think the line actually goes a little further south beyond that, so I'm just going to play it. I will sort of detail the changes that I've made. Essentially, they don't the 11th regiment, the 11th regiment come on in increments. So instead of getting three battalions on all at once, because they didn't have enough helicopters, I've sort of varied it so that it reflects that. And what I'm also going to do, just because I'm playing it, I'm going to move them a little bit further back in the hope that I might avoid some of the anti-aircraft. So I've only got 3 anti-aircraft facing me there. Still got hit for 3 depressions. That's 2 depressions, so I should be able to recover from that. I think I have actually evaded no result. So he got through without being hit. It's interesting really how effective that AA is. So I should have landed them all over here really. And I'm actually good. What I didn't do in the last time, I didn't engage at all. So I'm not saying there's any reason why I should, but still got some movement. In fact, interestingly enough, see how far I can get this unit in. So basically, I think in the preamble I sort of talked about how things went historically, and how I also detailed out essentially how they're going to come in and support these units. Detailed essentially how you can't play this game because of the lack of surprise. You know, they just weren't expecting that. So I'm just playing it now as a counter game, taking it verbatim. The strangest thing is sort of why would they want to move out of any of these locations? They've got entrenchments, so it's hard to really understand. And I'm pretty sure these are roads, but you know, I suspect there might be little canals, which would be really embarrassing. But I'm not afraid to admit I got it wrong if I have. There are canals around here, but I thought they were sort of on the par of being negligible. I mean, if you can get men across it just by leaping through them, because they're not so deep, and you can somehow just, you know, I mean, they took their M113s and armoured vehicles through them, but they did have to sort of stop whilst they cut down some trees to sort of, you know, help provide a bit more of a base. They didn't build a bridge, but you know, it's sort of just that it made them a bit awkward. But I don't think they were counted as sort of being river bodies that required, you know, an end of movement afterwards. So I haven't got them in there. But if there are, then I might have to seriously reconsider the map. I know it's not the most aesthetic looking maps. But anyway, so I've moved into this position, and to be quite honest, it's quite a good position to be in. Now, I do feel that it's sort of possibly tight, to say the least, with regards to the fields of fire, because this is 1.5 kilometres between these two. But so they could possibly, if you were to sort of analyse it, maybe firing into the second hex. You know, that would be sort of their field of fire, and that would sort of make more sense from the maps and the descriptions that I read. But on another account, they basically state that they basically just moved north, and it wasn't until they were 20 yards, which is basically point-to-point contact, 20 yards in front of the positions that the Viet Cong started firing. But anyway, we're playing it just as a game. We've just landed these units. We're going to try and take this place out. Now, I've no idea what the odds are going to be, but it's not as though we can wait for anything else. I mean, this is it. This is probably the best attack we can possibly have, and it was an exchange. Now, they did do this in the actual battle. They just had these. They had tried assaulting this line 3 times and failed. So that's that. Now, because this is a lot more stretched, they don't really have any scope for moving out. Now, what I've been thinking about doing is introducing the attrition rules. I keep threatening to do it, or I keep promising to do it, and I never really got round to it. But this would be sort of a good way for attrition. I think the way attrition will work is it just works like combat, except you click the attrition function and you don't get to advance, you don't retreat, but if you inflict anything, you inflict a quarter of whatever damage you would have done. So it's going to be fairly negligible. But if both sides fire, they don't recover. So essentially, you could still whittle down either side. If you don't fire, you get to recover. So as long as the attrition factors will probably be less than 1, which means you'll recover every turn. But it just means that you're continually having to decide whether you want to do nothing and recover, or fight and build up that fatigue, that attrition. So I haven't done it yet, but I'm tempted to do it, because on this one I think they would be attritioning each other. This is a perfect example of where these Viet Cong units would want to carry out attrition fire, because they don't want to advance. Well, they don't. Well, to be quite honest, they could do an assault. And to be quite honest, I'm just thinking aloud, really. But it's now I just want to sort of get through as many of the mechanisms as I can, really. So again, it's another sort of odd game, because you sort of think, well, why don't they just come out of their entrenchments and now surround these units? Because if this is all that's on the field, they could probably do that. But then again, they've got to defend this objective up here, I think. That's just a village. It's only this objective. But they've got to sort of protect from this, whatever's happening near this LZ. So, why they would sit there, I don't know. But that's the game, see. But the Viet Cong got artillery, or mortar fire, so let's bring in one round at a time. 0.5 no effect. 1. So that leaves him 3.1. That leaves him at 2. So it would still be a 1-to-1 if I went with both of these units, so I'm not going to do that, but it's going to take them a while to recover from that. And do we have any fire up here? We could have had more on this. So he's on 3. No, 3.2. Well, that's a 0.2 he won't get back, so okay. Now we do have the guerrilla units in here somewhere, the irregulars, and I've sort of worked on the assumption that I could use those, but what I will do here, I think, is shuffle these around. Although I am just playing it as the game, as I've sort of said. That's interesting. That is interesting, actually. Now, I haven't read any accounts of the Viet Cong coming out of their entrenchments to counter-strike or attack in any way. That's interesting. I thought we had 13 movement, which of course he couldn't have. Because he's irregular, and they're worth 4, so he would be worth 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that would be a 2-to-1 against that stack now. I'm going to wait until I can get this unit in play as well. Okay. That's interesting, because lots of little sort of, not so much bugs, but things I haven't got straightened out yet that have been going on since the game started. It's still turn 1. They don't get their second reinforcements on until turn 2. I'm not sure what I want to do with that one, because I wouldn't mind recovering, and I wouldn't mind recovering with that, but he can move. And I'm not sure where I want to go. I think I'm going to go this way. Okay, so still not quite there yet, but it's risky, but I can get another envelope around that and try and attack again. Now they've probably recovered from whatever sort of depression they had, but these haven't. A lucky die roll is not going to happen. They've still got the 2-to-1 odds though. So that's their second historic assault. They've sort of been pinned down with that firing, I guess. So the Viet Cong are going to do their artillery type, their mortar fire again. Now historically these civil units, civil guards or whatever they are, they did get pinned down. I mean that is depression 10. I mean he's 0%, half strength, and he's at no strength. So this is very interesting. Because I can afford to push him there and him there, because he's worth only half a point, and I have 5, 6, so this will be 7-to-1, even with just these 2 units, in theory. 6-to-1 DE with a good dice roll. So that's that. And so he's worth 2. We'll have 5 from the irregulars, 7. So that would be 3-to-1. Plus he's depressed 2. That's interesting. I think the paddy fields give you a negative defence bonus. I think they're sort of classed as super open or super inconvenient, and that's affecting things. But we're not going to follow up on that. So let's see what we can do over here on this unit. We've got 1 bit of mortar to come in. Point 2. Okay, so we end that turn, and here we get the next battalion of the 11th Regiment, sort of air mobile units. Now, I'm going to land them over here. There's 3 anti-aircraft units to come in through, so we're getting hit straight away. I'm coming in near because I want to actually not spend the rest of the game trying to advance, which is the mistake I did before in landing so far away. Again, I have to admit I'm not sure where the game balance is right, so one of the reasons why I'm sort of playing it. It could do with tinkering too. But it does look as though it's sort of near on impossible to actually do anything. We had 2 attacks on that, and we could have retreated that and been in that fortified unit and fought along whatever sort of defensive line this is, and that would have probably been, that's probably the strategy to take, because on first turn you can move there, you can get a 2-to-1, you could even get a defender eliminator I think on a 2-to-1. Anyway, I've only got a few seconds left, so I might do another round of this. but we'll see. Okay, well, I'm back in for another turn. So the South Vietnamese player has sort of landed there. We've yet to start moving forward with these units. They've gone down to 2.2 from 3.2, and they should be at 1, so I'm going to leave these two to regroup again, and I'm going to move these units in this direction to sort of maybe try and join up with some kind of assault with that lot. We were forced away there, but I mean we're in the crux of a battle, and so I'm pretty sure this is about as good as it's going to get, whatever it is. And we've lost 2 companies. There's irregulars in there as well. 1 to 1. That's the third attack. That's the third one, and that could have gone well. I think the Viet Cong are too strong, especially when you consider that we're only looking at one little section. I mean, these units are not coming out; they're all just sitting there. So that's the end of that turn. I think we're going to use a mortar fire on this. I'm trying to push something up on this northern part just to 4.8, so he's at half strength. Just sort of take the heat away from here because I think it's pretty overwhelming. I'll probably have to make these units tougher or something like that, just to make some gameplay. Not that they're supposed to be gameplay, but that was an exchange. But that puts him up to 5.8. I mean, and he's at depression 1. I mean, there are only 2s, but as they should, maybe I should push them down to 1s. I might do that. It's going to take some fiddling about, but they're otherwise too tough, really. And down here, well, we've got some mortar fire. 0.4, 3.4, and then this is going to be a 7 to 1 DE. He's vulnerable outside there, but there's just nothing left now. Okay, so it's now the South Vietnamese turn. Where to land them? Commit this air insertion against 4. So 1 hit. Let's do it again. Let this land here in this landing zone. Exchange. And this guy, let's put him there. DR. All taken hits coming in. Let's see what we can do here. I mean, these people are just being annihilated. The thing is to bear in mind, you got to realise that they could have that the first attack, if they'd won, it would have been completely different. But they just pounded that 4 times. They've been counter-attacked. I mean, this would be, an historic event. Just this little sort of assault on the line south of Ap Bac. I mean, I've looked at some of the videos, and it's really hard to sort of actually figure out exactly what happened. I'm sure maybe the accounts are out there somewhere, but I'm pretty sure they didn't attack the whole line all at the same time. But they did take heavy losses, and this is sort of, I think I have to play it a few times to sort of understand the variance as to how those sort of losses compound or reflecting. But we've now got quite a lot of units up here, and he's just landed, so he can't move. I'm going to recover with him. He doesn't need to recover. Well, he's depressed 1, and he's depressed 5.8. Okay. Now these are tougher than these units, but still, fingers crossed. Exchange. So, ending that turn. I'm going to let them off a little bit down here. I'm playing that just I don't want to start coming out of the defensive positions to annihilate these units just yet. I am sort of keeping my operational orders in, keeping the integrity of my operational orders to defend this line and hold this line against an oncoming enemy. I mean, if they're pulling back like that, then we're not going to follow them just yet, especially considering this looks quite intense up here. Nice big sort of line trying to push down there. Let's see what we can do here. No effect. Well, that was a relief. .1, the inevitable. 2, no effects, and this little irregular guy. Defender retreats. Well, he's got some oomph in him. Again, let's go round and round. Still going round and round. It really spoils it when you shouldn't really be attacking with air defense units. Yeah, that's almost predictable. It happens quite a lot, but I don't think I've ever videoed it before. If that happens, the thing to do, here it comes, it's coming back. DE. If that happens, generally speaking, you would wait 5 minutes and whoever's at this operational end of the server generally reboots it, I think. Sometimes they reboot automatically, sometimes you've got to call them up, but it's not a great set, it's the cheap end of the server range, so nothing special there. Well, it looks like South Vietnamese are just having no luck at all. I'm going to have one more shot here. Okay, we'll do this one first. These units, because he should only be worth 1.9, so you should get. Seems the irregulars are pretty weak when you catch them on their own, but he'll just retreat. So we've got a DE, but he probably retreated. Hang on, look at that. Yeah, we actually eliminated him. Wow, the South Vietnamese have their first bit of luck, actually eliminating a unit. But I don't have any movement left. However, this is the one that we really wanted that luck on. Bit of luck. Just a bit of luck. Well, I like the way the attacker retreats. They actually sort of retreat away in sensible positions. I mean, it's looking pretty dire. Okay, so the Viet Cong are going to move this irregular unit up here to start with the whatever sort of movement or whatever engagements they're doing up here, so that they're reacting to their loss. Here, I'm going to fire some artillery onto this mechanised unit, who is depressed 3. No effect. 0.6. 2. Big one. 1. DE. Remember, the DE result doesn't mean they're all killed. It means they're basically routed in bad order and not coming back. And the mechanised unit did get completely decimated. The machine gunners on top of those things were all, a lot of them were killed. I think there was 14 of them or something. They only had 12 vehicles and most of them were destroyed. So that is semi-historic. We're coming up to another 15-minute thing here. Oh, it's still the okay. I'm gonna cut it down and see whether I can repair that. Well, I'm not going to be able to repair it. End that turn. I just won't attack it. I might have to attack it. Okay, I'm going to pause it there for the video, next 15 minutes. Okay, well, probably going to be the last 15 minutes. Don't have time to do much more, but South Vietnamese player's turn. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat a little bit because I made a mistake. I'm going to end their turn. I'm going to move that back in there. The cheat is that they'll probably get their reinforcements on a little sooner, so we're just going to move that back, and we're going to move it into, where was it? Well, let's move it into there. Move it into there because we've got some there and there. Look at all that. Now we're going to move it back to the South Vietnamese player's turn, and they still don't get any reinforcements on. But this is it. I mean, if they can't win this, they're not going to win anything. It would be nice if they had some artillery fire, but they did actually have it, but the spotter didn't want to spot and it kept missing. Look at that, 4 to 1. I'm really tempted to play it again because a 4 to 1, I mean, they should have won that. I mean, that would have got them into these trenches. If they could, I could just keep playing it until we get, on the first turn, I could take that little unit. I could take that trench and then fight along this trench, reorganise this a little, maybe land a little over here. I'm not sure how tight this LZ is. I feel that as a player, I've got, the sort of the scope to vary that. I mean, there's no hard and fast rules. I'm not landing down here. I think that was a bit tight, but once I'd landed there, I think I had the right to expand over here. But basically, to regroup all these units and then to come in here and take one of these hexes. Once we were in those fortified units, it'll be a lot tougher for them to actually counter-attack. We just had no luck at all. We took out one irregular unit. I mean, so what? I mean, it's not even worth counter-attacking there, so that's the end of that turn. I'm not going to cheat here. It's taking some. These stacks are too big to attack. It's a Viet Cong player turn, yep. And I'm moving a Viet Cong unit into there. Come on. I'm sure there was only 2 in there before. Six, 7, 3. Okay, this is the first round of reinforcements, and these ones you can pretty much land where you like, and they might have landed somewhere, but they landed around here. You can see this helicopter crash site. They basically lost most of they lost 4 of these helicopters, but we're in desperate needs here, so we're going to come in and land here. As we got in, can here. And here. I don't want to sound boring, but if it had just gone the other way, we still wouldn't be trying to get that X, and we'd have a lot more units, and we've lost a lot of units already. I don't know how many. Lost 2 over there, lost the mechanised, lost another one over there. There's at least 4 units lost down here, lost a couple over here, I'm sure. So that's a huge number of units, and the differentials become significant considering that they have lost no units. They've lost 1 irregular unit. So that's that. They did do their attacks. They've got to win this. Now, I haven't been shuffling the troops around, and what sort of 2 to 1? There's just no luck, is there? I was just thinking it's just a matter of time, but they're just not getting that luck, you know. But the thing is, they haven't moved their irregular unit up from here, but they can't really afford to move anyone out of here. Yeah, truly bizarre. Okay, so we move this irregular unit up as far as we can. Fire some artillery into here. So it happened again. Now there's 3 of them. I don't know what's happening there. It's obviously a bit odd. I think it's the way it calculates the distance. No effect, but they're pretty much knackered. Can't counter-attack against these big stacks though, that's the thing. So they are actually sort of like half dug into the middle of a paddy field in some sort of minimal bit of defence, being cut down by machine gun fire. So it's probably not too dissimilar to what sort of actually happened. You know, I don't think they had the entire line being offended. This is a 1.5 kilometre line. So there would have been units down here not actively engaged, although these, as I said, I think this is more open. But I think I'm not sure whether they made any ground, but I'm sure it couldn't have been this devastating. Okay, well, we've got new units in. It's not going to get much better than this. This is like an all or nothing. After nearly a day of fighting. Will they ever see the inside of that trench line? 1-to-1 odds. I'd like to play this again. I can't do it now. I'm not going to be able to get past this 15-minute one. But they get one more trench of reinforcements. They come on this landing zone, some paratroopers, and they haven't moved up here. And again, wave after wave after wave of frontal assaults onto this impenetrable defensive line. And yet again, with a 1-to-1, they fail. They fail to make any progress at all. What sort of depressions have they got? 8. 5, 11, 7, 6, 11, 9. Oh, they just might as well not exist. 1 against 1. Oh, man. To be quite honest, I'm going to sort of leave it at that. I mean, I like the way the map looks at the moment. When we had these new reinforcements in, you know, there's the depression 6, 4, 5, 6, 4, 3. Because you've got to remember these units that got shot up as they came in. So that they're already pretty depressed by the time they get in. I keep saying this, but if we played it again, it could go so drastically different if we got that first roll. But this is, I want to say this is exactly how it happened, because I just don't know how it happened, and I don't know where the assaults came in. I got the feeling that they were fighting sort of along this line, but if they landed over here, they must have been attacking along that line, and they made no ground. I mean, I'm at the stage now where I feel like I want to get the book out and reread the whole thing and read some of the other websites and do a lot more research now that I've got the background to it all, and to actually figure out where all these counters actually were and what was what. The only thing to say is that these guerrilla units, these irregular units as we're sort of calling them, they're actually guerrilla units. Viet Cong guerrilla units, and that's actually what they were. I mean, they probably didn't call themselves guerrilla units, but they did have these, and I think they described them as 3 guerrilla units in the in that sort of the book that the site links to. This site links to, and so it's pretty much sort of as it was, and I'm pretty sure that they were doing guerrilla sort of actions. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what they would have done, but as demonstrated, if they get out in the open, they're actually very vulnerable because they're only worth 1. It's just they get the irregular bonus, which is pretty powerful in the situation. I'm going to leave it at that because I've got other things to do, but I don't think we're going to progress much further. But there are the paratroopers, and it's just hard to really imagine that, you know, they paratrooped units in. I mean, they didn't do a lot of paratroop operations. And I think this is sort of like a spin-off from the Second World War, you know, when paratrooping was a lot more commonplace. You know, they were still sort of mixing it with the banana helicopters, which got shot down, and paratrooping. You know, they moved onto the air mobile platforms, the Hueys, you know, soon after, because it's probably a lot more versatile than parachuting in. But that's what they do. But you don't get, I don't think there's really much, and to be quite honest, all they would be doing is reinforcing a loss, which is what they did. But they paratroop in here, and what they should have done is they should have paratrooped over here, and that would have essentially completed the circle. So that mechanised unit it didn't actually go anywhere. It sort of held back because they didn't want to commit themselves, and then it was forced forward to secure the helicopter landing zone. So that armoured unit didn't really do anything, but it would have been sat here covering this. These units would have enveloped around there. These units would have enveloped around here. So what they needed, so that would have been the Guard, the 11th Regiment, the armoured unit. So that would have been almost a full circle, and the parachuters would have come in here, creating a full circle, which would have meant that the Viet Cong couldn't have retreated, but they did. They retreated this way at nightfall. So that's that. I'll send this up and stitch it together, and I hope you enjoyed that, and gives you an insight into the Battle of Ap Bac. And I'll speak to you later. Cheers, mate.